Welcome back. Sudbury-based mining innovation company MIRARCO has received over $200,000 in grant money, this coming from the Mining Innovation Commercialization Accelerator Network. The funding will help them develop a pilot plant in Sudbury that will use a biotechnology process to extract valuable metals out of waste piles at mine sites, all while cleaning up the environment. For more on this, we're joined by Nadia Mychuk. She's the president and CEO of MIRARCO. Thanks for joining us. First, what kind of metals are we talking about here?
So the technology that we're working on for this specific project is looking at extracting two battery metals. So we're looking at nickel and cobalt that are being extracted from mine waste in Sudbury, Ontario.
Why is this initiative important? Why are you doing this?
So I think it's probably a topic that we hear about every day now, the push for electrification, battery electric vehicles, electrifying the grid and decarbonization. And all of that is going to require a pretty significant increase in mining production for a variety of critical metals. So when we look at all the sources of these metals that we know of, both in the ground and in the mines, and where the demand is going to be by 2030 and 2040, we simply don't have all of that metal in the ground. So we have to start looking at alternative sources for these metals. And we do actually have a significant amount of mine waste that we've deposited over 100 years of mining in Sudbury and many, many mines across Canada. These mine wastes sit in the environment. They're really low concentrations of metals, but there's still, when you multiply that out by the volume, there's still a lot of metal there. So if we're going to meet the demands that are coming in very near future, we're going to have to try and extract these metals in an economic way and in an environmentally friendly way.
What made you come up with this idea? Were you looking at other industries, or did you have a sense that there would be metals there to mine?
So it's well known as part of the mining process that the waste that we leave, we can't extract 100% of the metals that are in the ore that we mine every single day. And so it's a well-known fact that many mines produce a lot of mine waste, and those mine wastes tend to sit and cost mining companies a lot of money to manage. So bioleaching technologies or other reprocessing technologies have been around for decades, but there really hasn't been the demand. Why go after a really low concentration, a low grade of material when you've got higher shiny grades of material to go after? Now we have a reason. We have a reason to go after these metals because we simply have to meet that demand. And so bioleaching technology is a really interesting technology. It's been around for over 40 years, but hasn't really been used at a commercial scale because it takes a little bit longer to use bacteria to break down the waste, the minerals, extract those metals, and then put them to market. But the value of using these bacteria is that it's lower cost, lower carbon, lower energy technology to get value out of a really low-grade material.
Wow. How much of this metal do you estimate is in there that you'll be able to retrieve and extract?
So that's a really great question in terms of the value of the deposits in Sudbury. We can estimate there's about $8 to $10 billion worth of nickel, double that in cobalt, so over $20 billion worth of metal sitting in one location in Canada. We have hundreds of millions of tons of this material across Canada. We've got many abandoned sites, many active sites, and mining companies, not only in Sudbury, but across Canada and globally, are starting to look at that inventory that they have already sitting there in their waste and recycling and reprocessing that material. So it is a significant value. This is not a trivial amount at all.
Wow. So the companies that are allowing you access their waste piles, will they get a portion of what you're able to eventually extract?
Oh, absolutely. So we're, as the technology developers, we're working with industry, we're working with companies like BackTech Environmental and large mine operators like Vale. And they are the ones that own the deposit, and we'd be working to help develop the process that they would obviously then either license or put into practice to recover those metals. But this is an option for smaller companies to look at deposits and reprocess those. It's an option for larger companies to look at reprocessing their own waste. And it's also an option for communities and our governments to actually go and look at abandoned sites. So there's a potential value for a lot of different stakeholders in applying these types of technologies that we're developing.
Wow, okay. And this is a pilot project right now, but if successful, what does the next phase look like?
So anytime you're developing a new technology, there's a lot of different stages that you have to succeed and optimize and show that the process works. And so what we're hoping to do with this particular project is develop this process to extract nickel and cobalt from this particular material. But of course, we're going to take that approach and we want to apply it to a number of different mine sites and mine waste. We're MIRARCO is aiming to develop a center for mine waste biotechnology so that we can pilot not just one process, but many processes and make that a training facility and an incubator for these types of technologies to move very quickly into the mining industry and help address a lot of different mining materials, extract a lot of different kinds of elements and support our big push for electrification.